In this tutorial, we're going to add details to your GPS model. So before I start, I'm going to hide the sketch pictures because they're making my model look a bit messy. So the sketch pictures were over here. You can see sketch picture 1 and 2. I'm just going to right click on this entire sketch to hide them. I've right clicked and then clicked the eye to hide those sketch pictures. So now it looks a little bit cleaner. The first thing that we need to do is we need to bring in another sketch picture for the back of the GPS because the back has a bunch of details that we're going to add, and the sketch picture is just going to be kind of like a layout guide to show us where to add those details. So I'm going to add that on the depth plane. I could either click here on the depth plane, right click on it to sketch, or I could go over here and I right clicked. Now I'm going to click sketch. I do not have the sketch picture control out, so I'm going to look in here to get it. Here's the sketch picture, and it's going to be here where I already downloaded it. Let's see my downloads, the detailing files. I have the back, that's what I want. So here for the width, I'm going to type 4.75, and the unit's already in inches. Then I need to unlock the aspect ratio because my picture's proportioned differently, and the width is going to be 2.93. Then in order to position my picture correctly, I'm going to copy this and paste into here. Oops, I pressed copy twice. Okay, I'm copying and pasting, and then I'm going to divide it by 2. I also could, if I already knew in my head what 4.75 divided by 2 was, I could have just typed that in. Now you can see it moved way over there to the right, so I'm just going to make that negative, and then it should move into the right position. Then I'm going to make the transparency 0.6 so that it's not too dark and it doesn't get in my way. Okay, press the check, and then I'm going to exit the sketch. Okay, there's one more step I missed. If you look, I was looking at my model from the front because I had right-clicked on the depth plane instead of just clicking on it. So I'm going to look at it from the back now. And I can see, I can sort of see my sketch picture. I'm going to have to adjust the lighting, but I think my sketch picture is backwards. So I'm going to edit my sketch. I right-clicked here on the sketch picture 3, and I'm going to edit it. I double-clicked on the sketch picture to get into this control again, and I want to flip the picture horizontally. I'm going to do it that way. Okay. Now I'm going to get out of the sketch, and I'm going to check the back. Okay, now this looks right. So now I can read the word Garmin, and it's not backwards anymore. Now I'm just going to rename this sketch. I'm going to rename it to back pic. Then I'm going to close this here, and I'm going to relocate this in this kind of vertical timeline. I'm going to put it right after the depth plane, so you can see it's saying move below depth. In order to move it, I just click, I'm using the left click, I hold down on that and drag it up. So I'm moving it below the depth plane. Now, if you'll remember last time we had this parting line here, we're going to take that away for now and then we'll bring it back later. So I need to figure out which feature in my feature tree over here represents that part line. I have the part line plane, but it's going to be one of these cut extrudes here. So you can see I clicked that one. I know it's the same thing because this one is highlighting in blue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on cut extrude 1. Yours might be called something else depending on if you renamed it or if you had to remake it. I'm right clicking on that and I press delete. and then I press yes. So now the sketch 7 that was used to create that cut feature has been unabsorbed. So the sketch isn't deleted, and I'm not going to delete that sketch at this time. But I just deleted the cut extrude, and I kept the sketch for now. So the next thing I'm going to do is we're going to start to make this this indented design on the back. So in order to do that, we need to start with a sketch. I'm going to make sure that I'm looking at the GPS straight on from the back. So I'm clicking on this viewfinder button, and then I'm going to click this, which says back, and I'm getting the GPS from the back. Now I'm going to need to start a sketch on this plane, which was the depth plane. That was the furthest back plane. So I'm going to sketch on the depth plane. It decided to move my model around, so I'm just going to... Oh, I forgot to say this. If you click here, normal to, then basically what that means is you're going to be looking straight on at whatever plane you're sketching on. So that's a really useful button to use when you're trying to look at a plane that maybe isn't one of the choices in this viewfinder. So now we're looking straight at the sketch. I'm getting the line here. So I have this, I have selected this line button here. I'm inside of a sketch. My cursor looks like a little pencil. I am going to click on this orange highlighted line, which is actually the right plane. And you can see there's a little square that has kind of like half an X on it, and that means that's a coincident relationship. So if I click there, that means my sketch is going to be like essentially anchored onto that plane for now, unless I change that relationship later. Then if I click over here, you can see right now the yellow square is like a horizontal line. That means that my line is going to be perfectly horizontal. If I click up here, you see how the line goes away. So hold it down here to be horizontal. Click again. Now I'm still making the same line. Click down and to the left. This time you can see it looks like a little angle. We don't need to worry about that. That's probably just, I'm a certain number of degrees that it could snap to, but we don't need to do that. We're trying to trace the bottom of this design here. So I'm going to click there. I'm zooming out by scrolling my mouse and zooming in by scrolling the center of the mouse again. Oh, it looks like I didn't trace the line very well, but I want this part to be horizontal. So I'm going to click way over here actually, just so that I have enough to work with. Now, if I right click, I can exit this little line that I'm making by clicking the select arrow. So now I have the select arrow again. I don't really like where I put this vertex, so I clicked it and I'm going to drag it into a better position. Okay, that looks good. Now I'm just going to click this check to get out of that dialog. I'm going to exit the sketch. Oh, you know what? I think I'm going to save my file because I don't want to lose my progress. So let's save here. All right, we were close with this line, but we actually want to curve it to match this drawing here. So in order to do that, I'm going back over the sketch. I'm going to right click on the sketch and I will pick this top left icon that says edit sketch. Okay, I probably need to change some setting on my computer, but don't forget if it flips around, do this normal to. Okay, I'm going to use the sketch fillet button. And now basically I need to select the things to fill in this blue box. This says entities to fill it. So whatever I select over here is going to go populate that box. I'm going to select this one and this one. And now the yellow preview is basically showing me what's going to get filleted, or like what's going to change from a pointy corner into a round corner. Then I'm going to click here and here. And now I have both of my little corners changed to fillets. I will press check. Okay, now I thought I pressed check. I guess I didn't. I'm just going to scoot this over a little bit. Okay, it's not perfect, but it's good enough for the purposes of this. Now, instead of exiting the sketch, I'm going to click Features. And the feature that I want to get here is the extruded boss base. And you can see this time my sketch is just a single line, right? It wasn't like a closed loop or a closed square or anything. It was just a line. So in that case, the program is automatically assuming that I want to do a thin feature, or basically that I want to make some sort of extrusion or like extended chunk that is along that line but thickened, if that makes sense. So I have here my line, and then it's just thickening whatever amount I want. So if I wanted it to be really thick, I would make it super thick there. If I wanted it to be thinner, I could go down. I could also delete what's written here and type in my own number. But what I really want to do is match the picture that I have here. So you can see that it's on the wrong side. Actually, it's below the line when it should be above it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press this arrow, and now it flipped it. So you see it goes back and forth when I press that arrow. The thickness isn't really that bad. I had just randomly chosen 0.05. It could probably be a little better if it was a little thinner. Okay, that's better. So even though here I have made it the right width, essentially, I haven't necessarily made it the right depth because I am not telling it how far I want it to go. So I'm going to make it go, telling it like basically how far should this arrow go, right? Like, should we go all the way out here? So I could click the arrow and drag it, but it's easier to control if I go over here and use these numbers. So instead of blind, which basically just means straight ahead, perpendicular to your sketch, I'm going to choose to take this extrusion up to a surface. So I have selected up to surface from this drop-down menu. And the surface that I want to go up to is the front plane. I have a lot of planes showing right now. So by hovering over this one, I can see that I'm hovering over the edge of the front plane, and it's previewing in that little box, showing me that I do have the front plane selected. So I'm going to choose that. And then I can double check here, I've got the front plane. I'm going to uncheck this box to merge result because that would attach this thing that I'm making. It's really more like a cutting tool. It's not part of what I actually want the GPS to look like. So I do not want to connect it. So I'm unchecking that box. Okay, so I have it going one direction how I want it, but I also want to extend it a little bit in the other direction with the second arrow. So I pulled it just to show you what I mean, but I, again, want to control it better. So over here, I'm just gonna write, well, actually, I don't need to write anything over there. I think what I'm doing is already fine. So I'm going to press the check. But okay, let's say you aren't sure if you click far enough in the arrow. So we'll give a number. So we'll just write 0.25 here. And that should be adequate. All right, so don't forget, if you want to not see a million planes at once, you can always go to View, Hide Show, Hide All Types, or bring them back. You can see we only drew this on one half. Why did we do that? It's because we wanted to not have to be bothered with making two symmetrical curves right here. If we wanted to draw that over here too, that would be really tedious. So really we need to put this in before we did the mirror. So we can reorder the things on this left-hand menu on the feature tree. I'm clicking and dragging this extrude thin. I'm going to put it below fillet 5 so that it's before the mirror. Now I'm going to hover over until these fingers look like they're pinching this blue bar, and I'm going to drag the blue bar up above the mirror. Now I'll be able to do what I want to do to this side and then mirror the whole thing again. Okay, for the next part, I want to be able to see the planes again. So I'm going back to View. Okay, I know some people are not always seeing this file edit, view, etc. I think you can hover over the Solidworks logo and they'll come back. Okay, what we're doing is we're going to show the planes again. And then we're going to draw on the top. So we want to view it from the top right now. And we want to sketch on the top plane. Let's see, the height plane. Do we want to sketch on the height plane or the top plane? I think we want to sketch actually on the height plane. So let's do that. I right-clicked on the height plane, sketch. I'm going to get this line again. I'm going to draw a line right here that's connecting to the, I'm hovering over this line here, that's why it's orange. I'm going to put my sketch on the orange line, but I'm going to put it further to the left than that central line. I'm going to bring it over here, click, and then I'm going straight down. You can see I have again that horizontal, or actually vertical, the little yellow square with the straight line. That means I'm vertical. I click that. Now I want to get out of this piece. There's two ways I can get out. I could right click and then push the select arrow, or I'm going to press the escape key. That will also end my sketch. Now I want to make sure that the distance between this part of my sketch and this plane right here, the right plane, is correct. So I'm going to go over here and click the Smart Dimension tool. Now I have it selected. You can see it's dark gray. Click the Smart Dimension, or click this sketch. Then click over here. When something's orange, you know you're going to choose it. Okay, now I'm going to click a third time to kind of say, yes, this is the dimension that I want. And, oh no, I lost my picture that was showing me what I need to type in. I'm going to type in, I'm going to type in 0.1875. I'm going to click check. And I'm going to click check again. Now I've got my dimension. My sketch is the dimension that I want. All right, so I'm still inside the sketch. You can see I haven't exited the sketch yet. But basically what we're doing with this sketch is we're trying to cut out, we're going to be using this white piece here to cut a detail out of the side of our GPS essentially, but we're not trying to cut it out of the front. So we're using this to chop off the front. So we're going to use this feature, click features over here, called extruded cut. And the extruded cut, we want to take it basically all the way down here through the white piece. So we can actually click through all, and it will automatically kind of cut through everything that we have. We don't have to worry about the dimension. And then it looks like right now, do you see this arrow here? It's going to cut the, basically it's going to cut off everything that's to the right over here from the yellow column there. And we actually want to keep this part on the right. We want to cut out the part in the middle. So we can click this box, which says flip side to cut. And now that white arrow is facing the other direction and it's going to cut out this chunk. But right now we haven't told this cut extrude what to cut. So it might cut off part of our GPS if we're not careful. So we need to go over here to the feature scope. Right now the program is auto selecting what to cut, and I don't see how it could know what we want to cut. So we don't want it to auto select. So instead, we want to populate this blue box with the correct things to cut. What we want it to cut is this extrude thin one. So I'm coming over here and highlighting it. Another way I could select extrude thin one would be if I went up here and click this arrow. I could also see my feature tree again, but I don't really want that right now. I'll click this one. So now it turned green. It came over here, extrude thin one. I'm going to click the check because that's what I want. And you can see that it did cut out the middle of that white, basically the big white rectangle we had, but it didn't cut out this part, which is perfect. So I'm just going to save my file so that I don't lose my progress. All right, for the next thing we want to do, we're going to use a tool from the surfaces section of the tools. You could look in here and find each tool that we're going to use, or you could go to tools, and I think that there's a way to add another toolbar for surfaces. And sorry, I didn't look at that right now. Forget that. There's an easier thing to do. Right click up here in this top like gray zone, and then hover over toolbars. And you can see over here, we have selected different toolbars. We can choose to add the surfaces toolbar. So that is one way to do it. But if you don't know which tool, like what these mean, it's a little bit harder because you can't see the words. So that's one option though, of where you could put the surface toolbar. I'm not going to do it that way. Instead, I'm going to right click up here in the very top gray bar, and I'm going to choose tabs, and I'm going to bring the surfaces tab. So right now it's not selected. I'm going to select it. Now, what that did is I have the word surfaces here. And if I click on it, I can see all these surface tools. These are the same ones that were just showing up on the left, but now I can see what they're called, which might be easier while you're still learning. Okay, now I'm going to use the offset surface button. Let's hide the types to make this easier actually. So we're gonna hide the planes just for now. I'm gonna click offset surface. And basically any surface that I click now should populate in the blue box over here to show that it's selected. I want to choose all the surfaces that are touching this white cutting piece that we're working on making. So I'm going to choose this one. I'm going to choose this one, and then you can see there's still a gray stripe. That means I miss a different surface. It's just because the curvature changes right there. So I'm going to click that, and I'm going to keep going around. I'm zooming in to make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, so you can just double check this, that you didn't miss any of the little fillets. You can see I have faces, it's saying faces 1 through 7 over there. Now what I'm gonna do, because I actually want the surfaces, right now you can see they're offset from the GPS and they're coming out, they're sticking out further. That's what the yellow looks like. I actually want them to go in because we're trying to just basically cut right here inside of the GPS where I'm tracing with the mouse. And we don't want them to cut in too far, so I'm typing 0.01 into that box. Then I'm going to press OK. And I now have a surface that's invisible. You don't have to do this, but I'll show you how you could see the surface. So I could hide, I've gone over here to solid bodies. I could hide this whole body by clicking this eye. And now I've hidden the GPS, but this kind of invisible half paper looking GPS is still there. And that's the surfaces that's the surface that I just built, surface offset 1. So I'm going to show the GPS again, but I'm just showing you what we made. Okay, apparently we actually wanted this to be slightly different. You don't have to do this part. I'm just changing this to 0.008. If you want to change it, you can. Otherwise, leave it at 0.01. Okay, and I actually am going to hide the GPS. This time, instead of clicking over there, I just click the GPS and I'm going to click hide so that we can see what's going on. I'm going to click this button, which says cut with surface. So the surface cut parameters is basically what surface are we using to cut? We're using this. The feature scope is asking us what are we cutting? We're again not going to let it auto select, so we're going to uncheck that box and we're going to cut this. And you can see our arrow here telling us which side we're cutting off. So we definitely want to cut off the middle because this outside is our cutting tool and it looks like it's pointing the right direction. but remember that we can change the direction with that. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hide surface offset 1 because I don't need to see that anymore. But I want to bring the GPS back, so I'm going back up here under solid bodies. I'm going to right click on that and click show. So now I have the GPS again. Now, what I want to do is I want to subtract this white piece, which is digging in just a little bit. It's intersecting a little bit with the edge of the GPS. I want to basically delete that from the GPS, but also it will cut away the overlap. So I need to go back to features, and I'm going to do the combine. Okay, I don't see the combine. So I'm going to maybe I'm just not seeing it, but to save time looking, I'm going to write combine in the search bar, and there I have it. So I'm going to click combine. Now, what I want to do is give me the option to add, subtract, or like keep what they have in common. What I'm doing is definitely subtract. The main body is the GPS. The bodies to subtract is this surface cut one. So I'm going to, let's see, show preview. What will happen? That's great. So in the preview, you can see that basically we're going to create this little line design on the GPS by doing this. Okay. Okay, now I showed you in the front, it was looking very square right here. That's not really how it would look on the product, so let's fillet that. I'm getting the fillet tool, and what I want to appear in this box are these little edges here. So I'm going to click one of them. Remember, if it's highlighted orange, that's what you're going to be clicking. So don't click this whole square, click the little orange line. And what I want over here is 0.02 under the fillet parameters. Okay, it's not giving me a preview, but I think it's still going to be okay. So I'm going to press the check. Great. I'm going to save again. Now I'm going to do one more fillet, which is just going to be this outer edge. I'm going to click fillet. I already had clicked that edge, but if you didn't do that yet, just click it now, and then you should see edge 1 show up here in the box. I'm going to put 0.0025 in the fillet parameters, and I realized it wasn't showing me the preview because I don't have the preview check, so you can press full preview if you want to see kind of like a little wireframe drawing of how the fillet's going to look. I will press the check because that looks good. Okay, so you may remember earlier that we deleted the parting line, or that kind of split line in the plastic that was down the center of the GPS. Now we want that to come back, but we wanted it to be able to cut through this design that we added here. So we need to find that one again. I believe it was, yeah, this is right. It was sketch 7, so it's right below. Mine says loft 3, yours might say loft 2. I probably like made a loft and then had to delete it and remake it, so it got named to loft 3. But if you highlight over sketch 6, and you can see, yes, this is the part line sketch. So I'm going to click that, and I'm going to click extruded cut. If, let's say, I didn't click it before, I could now go back and get it from this, but I don't need to do that. I already got it. Okay, the distance that we want to cut is going to be 0.1. Sorry, not 0.1, it's going to be 0.01. And we're going to put mid-plane as the direction, which is what we had originally. And then we can click check. Okay, so now we have our parting line again. And this is really more essentially to make the GPS look realistic. Obviously, the way that they actually manufactured the GPS is that the front and the back are two separate pieces of plastic. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add the Garmin logo on the back. Before we do that, we want the whole GPS to be unmirrored, or like we want it to be mirrored, and we want to stop unabsorbing this mirror feature. So we're going to I'm clicking on this line and dragging down. Oh, it's angry. Let's see the problem. Okay, sorry, I had that paused. I did bring back the planes, but you can just do that by hiding all types. So what I'm going to do, if I want to figure out why is the mirror showing this error, I right-clicked on the mirror feature. Now I'm going to click this Edit Feature button. And I'm just going to delete this. I highlighted it and pressed delete. I'm just going to select it again. And maybe it changed the name of the body and it didn't know what we were trying to do anymore. So now we're going to push OK. All right, that worked. So I have put a file into Canvas that has the Garmin logo that you're going to need to use for this tutorial. So I'm going to open the file. You will have to go to Canvas and download it, and then it will be your downloads folder or wherever you save it. So I can't say that it will be in the same place as mine. I'm going to do File, Open. I'm going to locate my file. I think I had it in here. I had Garmin logo .dxf is what I had called it. I'm going to click Open. And I am going to, so I'm going to choose this option here, import to a new part as. It's going to do as a 2D sketch. Import as reference, I'm not really sure if that matters, so we're just going to find out. I'm going to click Next. Okay, I can see very vaguely that that looks like it says Garmin, so that must be fine. I'm going to click Finish. So now it's opening, it opened basically a new part file. So you can see my GPS is completely gone, but it's really not gone. It's just kind of in a different little window of part file here. So don't worry about that. Okay, so since basically it has changed the Garmin logo into a giant collection of sketches, and I want to copy and paste these sketches and bring them into my GPS model. So I'm clicking and dragging to grab everything. Let's see. It's not liking that. Hold on. Okay, instead of clicking and dragging, I'm going to try this. I clicked model here, and that grabbed all of it. So now it's all highlighted in the light blue. That means it's selected. I'm going to press Control-C on the keyboard. Now I need to get back into my GPS model. So I'm going to click Window, and then you can see here I have that my GPS model is called GPS Tutorial 2. I'm going to click that, and it's bringing me back to the GPS. I want to stick that logo back here. So I'm going to click this view orientation. I'm going to look at it from the back, from straight on. Now I need to get a sketch on this further back surface. So I'm just right clicking here. Oh, am I in a sketch right now? Maybe I am. No, I don't think that I am. But I just want to make a new sketch here on this plane. I right click here on the plane. I'm going to do a sketch. It flips me around again. I'm just going to get back to how I want it to be. Now I'm inside a sketch, right? Because I see exit sketch over here. I see the arrow. I see the X. Now with my keyboard, I'm going to press Control-V. And now I'm zooming out, and you can see that I have a gigantic, the word Garmin is 1,000,000 times bigger than this GPS. So I'm going to need to rescale it. And I'm also going to need to flip it around because it's facing the wrong direction. Okay, so let's start trying to fix this. Maybe yours wouldn't come in backwards depending on what you did, but mine did. So I'm going to click Mirror Entities. It's asking what I want to mirror around. It has them all highlighted. These are the entities that it's going to mirror. Basically, these are like the chunks of the sketch that are going to get mirrored, which is everything. It wants to know what I want to mirror it about. I'm just going to pick any like vertical piece. I think that'll work. Okay, I click this vertical like far left side of the N. Now the yellow is the preview of what's going to happen. That looks great. So I'm going to click check. I'm going to click check. Why isn't it going? It's probably thinking very slowly. Okay, I'm going to pause the video and close out of some other programs to give it more brain power. Okay, that wasn't working, so I'm trying again. This time I came over here and I clicked on this model and it said there was an option to make edit sketch, so I did that. So now I'm going to click it again. I'm going to edit the sketch. I think this is really the problem that I had before. Now I can highlight it the normal way. I deleted the sketch that I was making in the GPS, so I'm starting over. So I'm pressing Control-C to copy these light blue highlighted pieces of the sketch. I'm going to click Window, get back to the GPS. Okay, now we're back here. I still have the sketch here, which is on the depth plane. I think it just keeps asking me, it keeps expecting me to draw on the wrong side of the depth plane. Oh, I still have my Garmin in there. Okay, really, I want to delete this because I'm going to start over, so I'm deleting that. Now I am going to look at this from the back. I'm going to paste the Garmin logo that I just got, which it probably looks the exact same. That's okay. This time when I mirror it, I realized it wasn't really that smart to mirror it around that line because the R was going to overlap the N. So this time, let's see. This time I am going to, I'm going to draw a new line. This is just for the purpose of mirroring. It's just like a reflection line basically. So I'm making sure it's vertical. And I'm right clicking to get to select. This time I'm going to highlight all of this and I want to mirror it. And this time I'm going to mirror it around my mirror line basically, so it's not going to like overlap. Now I'm waiting to see if it'll work. There's so many little lines, so it's taking it a long time. Oh, it still looks weird. Well, I think it'll still be okay. So let's see if we basically, now I'm going to delete the backwards one. I highlighted it and then I pressed the delete key. Now I'm going to delete my line to delete. Okay, now don't get lost in here. Our GPS is so tiny right now and we're super zoomed out. We're going to need to scale this whole thing way down and then move it way over there to put it back on the GPS. Okay, now we need to scale this drawing way down. So in order to do that, I'm going to click on this arrow that's to the right of Move Entities. And I'm going to click Scale Entities. I still have everything selected. You can see there's a million lines here selected. It's asking me what I want to scale it about, basically like in reference to. You can kind of choose any point on here. And that's just kind of where it will still be attached. Oh. I wasn't in the right selection, so I'm going to delete that point I just selected. Now I need to click in this box first. Then I need to select the point. Okay, so the scale point is defined. Right now it's scaling 1 to 1. That's obviously not what we want to do. I calculated that it's supposed to be 0.0023 for the size that I have. I don't know if that's going to be right or not. That's just hopefully right. I'm going to click OK. Okay, Now it got so small you can hardly see it, but it's still here. Oh, I zoomed out. There's my GPS. There's my sketch. It's nowhere near where I need it to be, but I'm zooming in on it. And it got a lot smaller, which is headed in the right direction. Now I'm going to need to move it. I am going to highlight it all. I'm going to click Move Entities from... Okay, so what I need to do next is get the start point. You can really pick any point inside of any of the little points that are on the logo. Now you can see my mouse is kind of like carrying this around. I need to find the GPS and I need to click on the GPS to put it in the right place. I'm going to press F on the keyboard and F is going to fit everything into my screen. Now I see the GPS way over here. I'm starting to zoom in on the GPS. Now you can see my scaling was basically right. I'm hovering over. Okay, I'm not going to be concerned that it's slightly different. It's good enough. I'm just going to kind of center it on the logo here. So let's say you don't even see the logo on your GPS right now. That might be because if you have hide all types selected, you're not seeing the sketch picture anymore, but the sketch picture is showing up for me. If that happened to you, you could put this in one place. You could then turn back on your sketch picture and then move this again with the same Move Entities tool. You can move it as many times as you want. I'm going to click and now it's back in position. Now when I zoom out, that sketch that was like giant and in the wrong place is now just where I want it to be. I'm going to click Exit Sketch. Oh, and I'm going to save before I do anything else. Okay, now I want to use the sketch that I made to basically cut into the side of the GPS to make like a debossed feature. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to do, so I have the sketch highlighted. You can see, let's say you clicked over here. Your sketch is not highlighted. I'm going to do an extruded cut. And it's saying you need to select something first. Oh no. So select your sketch and click extruded cut. Now it knows what you want to cut with. And we're going to do 0.01 is fine, but do you see the arrow is pointing the wrong way? So let's click here so that we're cutting into the GPS. And the selected contours are fine. Okay, let's try this. Doesn't like something about my sketch. Oh, and okay, this is probably the problem. It's only highlighting part of my sketch, so I'm going to delete that. Okay, instead I'm going to come over here and basically choose I'm going to click inside of the parts of the sketch that I want to be cut. Because I don't want to cut that part out, right? I want the R to have its, the center top piece not being a cut. So I'm just going and clicking the places that I actually want to do a cut. Okay, the little R is not part of what we're going to cut out because I don't see it on the GPS. We're going to ignore that. Okay, it's hard to see because we have the sketch picture, but I think that worked. Yes. Sorry, ignore that blue. You can see that we have the logo got cut out correctly. Okay, now we're almost done. We need to add this pattern on the back. I want to see the sketch picture again so that I know what I'm doing. So I'm going back to the hide show, clicking the hide all types. Okay, this is what I was talking about, this pattern with all the circles. Let's make sure we're looking at this thing straight from the back. I'm going to do a sketch back here on the depth plane, but from behind. And I am going to use this little circle tool to draw a circle. And I'm going to start with this circle right here. I think I need to start, if I start kind of in the top left corner where I want the circle to be. Oh, look, I still have that. Oh no, there's just a weird orange line. Okay, you don't need to do anything with that. I thought it was going to start in the top left corner. I was wrong. It starts in the middle. That's okay. I'm going to right click, get the select, and I'm going to drag my circle to put it where I want it to be, which is right here. Okay, now I'm going to make sure my circle's the dimension that I want. I'm clicking Smart Dimension. I'm clicking the circle. I'm going to click again, and I'm going to type 0.05, and then I can press Enter, or I can press the green check. I'll just press Enter. Okay, so the circle is again going to be cut into the back of the GPS. So I'm still in the sketch. That's fine. If you exited the sketch, you need to select the sketch, and we're going to do another extruded cut. And this time, let's see, we're going to make it 0.01, I think is fine. But what we need to do is the arrow is pointing out. Out here, there is nothing. Our GPS is back the other direction. So click the arrow. And now it's going to be cutting in. And then we have the right contours, I think. Let's see. No, we don't. Okay, we want the sketch. So now it's kind of like this weird orange color. That's good. So it's going to be cutting in. And we want to make sure that it's going to cut the right thing. I think it is. So I'm going to click check and we'll find out. It looks like it did. I'm going to do hide all types again just to double check that everything's looking good. Yes, so we have our little cut out circle right there. So like we've talked about in class, it would be super annoying to do the same thing again and again and again. When you're repeating something, it's better to use a pattern. So we're going to use a pattern to try to build the rest of those little circles. We're going to choose fill pattern, which is right here. Okay, so there's all these choices. We want the fill boundary to be this, like this little surface, basically. So I've clicked that. We want the feature, it's going to be a feature. The feature we want is this cut extrude 6. That did not select. There we go. So I zoomed in. So right now the density, we've got the right thing, we've got the right idea, but the density isn't right. So we're going to need to adjust that. So let's see, the spacing right here we're going to put as 0.0662. And then for the angle, you can see that got way more dense. For the angle, we're going to put 45. Okay, that's looking good. So now I'm just going to click the check, and it's okay if it takes a while again for it to process that. Okay. All right. So now this is all we're going to do. I think in George's tutorial, he's going to tell you how to add the like a decal of the Garmin logo on the front. So you can watch that tutorial if you want to do that part, but that is not required. So here in this tutorial, remember what we did. We added this whole cutout line here. Then we re-added back in this side parting line, which we had taken away so that it would go through right there. And then we also added a deboss logo in the middle, and we added this whole fill pattern for the kind of speaker grill pattern on the back.